Okay, Rowan Williams wrote a book called The Wound of Knowledge, and he wrote on Augustine. The Confessions provide a unique testimony to the fact that it is God, and God alone, who can give shape and meaning to a human life. The struggles of men and women to make their own lives and build their own securities end in despair. And this is equally true for the believer and the unbeliever. Conversion does not signify an end to the chaos of human experience. It does not make self understanding easy or guaranteed an ordered or intelligible life. What is changed in conversion is the set of determinants within which the Spirit moves, and these may be inaccessible to the mind as they were before. Thus, the confidence of the believer never rests upon either his intellectual grasp or his intellectual control of his experience, but on the fidelity of the heart's longing to what has been revealed as the only finally satisfying object of its desire. It's God, whose nature is love. It's God, whose nature is love. It's God, whose nature is love. That's it. That's it. That's all there is. That's it. So the conversion is not about the head getting better, because the guru, the teacher, and God are not interested in the head, and the head, in most cases, won't even understand, as Williams is writing here. It's about the soul. It's all about the soul, who we truly are. It's about the heart, the soul. That's it. That's where we are going. If you think it's about the head, and if you think it's about intellectually understanding, then we would be in academia. I'd be making you write papers with making sure that your footnotes are correct. And I'd be reading research papers that I never ever wanted to read or write. Last research paper I wrote was my master's thesis back in 1972. This is about the soul. So you want to know what it's about and what it's not about. What the skills are and where you're going and where you're not. So years ago, there was some woman who came to me a couple of times and she said, you know, what happens in here experientially is just like what happens when I smoke dope. And I said to her, why don't you just go and smoke dope? Really? Because she thought there was no difference. And I was like, okay, go smoke with the dope. If what you think there's no difference between the dope and goes in here, then you go smoke the dope, especially now that it's all getting legalized. And as we said before, it's all natural. So that you want to know what you have and what you don't have. I love Evelyn Underhill's book on mysticism because she does a Venn diagram. That she finally comes to the essence of mysticism and what it's actually about, because she goes, well, what about magic? Well, magic does this, doesn't do this. And so does mysticism. It does a little of this, so we get those two out. And she comes to the essence of it all. This is about love. So, one thing I have said over and over and over again is to give up your hate and for you then to rest in love. That's pretty much the steady command that I give, asking you to obey that. And yet, people don't want to obey it. They really don't. They don't want to obey that. All else does not matter if you obey that. Because once you love, your path becomes clear. And it is clear. It's that simple. So if we look at this as a population, and you look at how many people are willing to actually obey, to love, and how many people fight love, it gets a little like, whoa, wow, are we a perfect example? And I've been saying for a couple of years now, we're getting to this point. We are in a point, we are fighting for our lives. And this is not about our bank accounts. This is not about our work. This is not about any of that. This is about love. This is about love. And every day there is one more thing happening that is taking us over and people are, oh, didn't think that, thought that was good. No. And if everybody thinks that everybody will be smart in November, no. They think they're already smart. There's no need to smarten up. So, what are each of us to do? All I keep saying, I'm not asking you to do anything other than love. And yet I can't get you to do it. It's fascinating. So, just quickly, because I want to do a procotomy, what is wrong with love? I mean, everybody sings the what's love got to do with it? Because everybody thinks it doesn't. Tina Turner is making a comeback here.
Oh, we said this before, but I mean, I thought love was just stupid. You know, you're not smart if you love. You know, I mean, that's one of the dumb things I thought. But I also never thought about consequences, and that's what I keep coming back to. That's nobody. I wasn't considering consequences. What happens if we actually do go over it? Like, what happens if I do choose this? Having just chosen myself, you don't want to find out. Do you know what I mean? But nobody. I think if I think I'm smart, then I'm not going to love, because love is surrender.
Well, I think Britain is getting that lesson on consequences in the most extreme way right now, because nobody really does think of consequences. There's a sense that we've come to a place where actions and intent don't actually matter. Everything will work out. All you have to do is think positive, no matter what has happened. or no matter what you do.
And if I just think positive, it'll all work out. So when yesterday happened, experientially, and I knew about it, I knew it was going to happen. I said it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. What it did was I actually experienced the same experience I did on that Tuesday night when I found out I had cancer. Same experience. Oh. Oh. And I knew it was going to happen, and I knew, we all knew I had cancer. It was no, but then the reality of it, and the reality of yesterday, the ripple effect. People don't understand what the consequences are. We don't think ahead. We don't have foresight. We don't. And it's just like, oh.
And the idea that you don't come back. Sometimes you don't come back. You've said it before, but sometimes you don't come back from stuff. You can't go.
Yeah.
You can't recover. And
It's too late.
people
It's too
don't
late.
do that.
There is no, that is, but if you positively think, then you'll be fine. But you're not fine. You're not. There are not fine. And if you don't really love, and I mean love, that means it's all about us. It's everyone. Then what happens is the undermining, and lo and behold, you find yourself in a pit that you can't get out of. And everyone thinks, oh, well, everybody forgives now. We'll all do forgiveness. Everybody's supposed to forgive. Everybody's supposed to this, everybody that. We've encouraged a society of non-lovers, a world of non-lovers. So what probably happened, and I don't know, with the woman who left her baby in the car, which I always, but then I don't have that kind of mechanism. When you get out of the car, I check to make sure. She probably had her smartphone. And she was probably getting out of the car, grabbed her bag and had her smartphone, and just slammed the door, clicked the button, or whatever, and just was looking at her important emails, messages, whatever, and completely forgot she had her baby in the back seat.
You have to hazard a guess that email was less important than the life of her own child.
That's complete, Thomas.
That's what we promote. So you go, oh my God, smartphones, wonderful, great tools. But look at the consequences that we now have. I go places and I don't see anybody, their posture is terrible because everybody's like this. So I bet you the chiropractors are making more money. You start to look at all of this. Making more money. There are more accidents because you bang into things, trip into things. People don't talk to each other. There's no communication. We're actually, from all of this, we're losing the period at the end of the sentence. They've actually talked about this, losing the and language is you, a you. It's wild. I got on Facebook, somebody friended me, and it appeared that we had mutual friends. I don't friend unless I have mutual friends. And it looked like the mutual friends, and they were from Baltimore. And then I'm like, I look at, and no, he didn't. So I get an automatic message from him immediately. Thanks for friending me. And then I defriended him. And I go, who are you? You don't have, I don't know you. You came up in my feed because we're in the same town. So I go, so then he goes, you, unfriend, defriend, whatever, me. It was like perfect English, not. And I go, he goes, why? And I go, I don't know you. What, are we making a great connection? Are we connecting? I don't think so. Is that my friend? People think those in that way. Those are friends. I now have a friend, new friend. Really? No. So, I want to do Wakami. Status quo. And as a positive, it would mean preservation.
Safeness.
Hmm?
Safeness.
Safe? No. No. Steadiness.
Steady.
Status quo can be terrible.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
you
let
have
me
to
read
add
this.
the positive.
Let me read this. Negative or positive depends on the nature of the status.
I'm pretty sure slaves
In this-
the
yeah,
50s
the-
thought the status quo was pretty bad.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure the Syrians think the status quo was pretty bad.
right. In this time we are in, a positive or negative doesn't care. Status quo just does status quo. So, and remember I said earlier, I have a Mars Saturn thing in me. Well, that's what's going on here. So I will always be I'm not really good with the status quo. Never have been. I'm not a good status quo person. No matter what the status quo is. Sorry, not a good status quo person. If you want status quo, no. Plateaus are about 3 minutes. So, opposite of status quo, preservation. What's the opposite? Change. And but we're doing negative. That's not, what's wrong with that? For you, it would be a nightmare, but oh my God, they changed the label on the orange juice can, and my status quo is ruined.
Would it be something like disruptive?
Yes.
Unstable.
Unstable, disruptive,
Disrupt. The opposite of
Destruction.
preservation is destruction.
destruction. We're in the middle right now of destruction, of upheaval. This time now is about upheaval. Can you see it? And it's going to be everywhere. If you just think it's only in Britain, it's everywhere. So negative or positive depends on the nature of of status. So if I'm a slave in, where is it? Mauritania?
Yeah.
Yeah, because up until recently it was legal. Or I've been a slave on a ship in Thailand for the last 4 years. My status quo is pretty negative. And I'll be very happy to have an upheaval. Okay, so it depends on what the nature of status. In this time we are in, the upheaval does not distinguish between positive or negative. Status quo is just heaving up. Just coming up. Just boom. The rug is being pulled out. I thought, if you think this is all fine. Watch out. So, for instance, what was it? Ian had pre-TSA.
I had TSA pre-check, yeah.
Yeah, so you just go right through, right? So, what happened yesterday?
My bag got pulled aside, it got bomb tested, it set off an alarm because there's all kinds of chemicals that could set it off. And I got pulled aside into a separate area for a exceedingly thorough search, both of me personally and with TSA pre-check. You can keep your coat on, you can just walk through normally, and everything taken out of my bag. So.
Got it? Status quo, poof. And I had told them, watch out, status quo. There is no status quo here. You assume, boom. So, negative of preservation, status quo.
There's no change.
It's no change, but it's like, no change, I'm fine, no change. No, it's negative, no change. What?
Sterile? No growth?
No growth?
Not so much
No.
sterile.
It's not sterile. That's
Stultified.
stultified, fixity, rigid, ossification. Stagnant was, how about here's one, congealed. That's what it is. Think of it as a negative, it's congealed. The life you picked is congealed. So for you last Saturday, you were congealed. But you call it status quo. And you think you're preserving. And you should be hoping for an upheaval. And what's the positive of upheaval and destruction?
Renewal.
Renewal. Yep. Rejuvenation.
Could it be evolution? Evolving?
No. Transformation.
Trans-
And definitely not breakthrough. Liberation. This is where the new age baloney of breakthroughs comes in. Because there are all these coaches, in quotes, out there who are going to, push you at a workshop so that you will then have an upheaval. You will have a breakthrough that then breaks open. So what other opportunities could you have for this kind of, where else could you have this kind of a breakthrough?
Car accident.
Car accident, absolutely, car accident. The guy pulling a gun on me when I was 19.
Any kind of shock.
Any kind of shock
Sleep.
is a breakthrough.
Serious illness.
Serious illness, finding out I had cancer was a breakthrough. I'd like everybody, I will charge $3,000. I will tell you you have cancer and you will have a breakthrough. Maybe your deductible will have already been paid and you will. Do you see this?
Yes.
That's what New Age and a lot of courses out there encourage. And people are waiting for the breakthrough. The snap. the opening. So somebody dies, all of a sudden people love. There's that opening. But then what happens? Closes. This is Vijnana Bhairava. It all closes up. Because what was the catalyst? The shock event.
Yeah.
The shock event. So then, shock events cause people to have these breakthroughs of openings. So let's encourage people to have breakthroughs in horrible shock events. And then you'll love. Well, great money maker because by the time it closes up, they'll be long gone. And I will have already deposited their check. And it'll be all okay.
They might be ready for another one.
Right, because they know
Yeah.
where they got it.
Yeah, and it was their fault. They didn't capitalize on it.
That's right. That's right. So what was it? Somebody took everybody's wallets or something and dropped them off in a city and they had to do something. It was the Sweat Lodge guy did that. And somebody died. Somebody killed themselves, fell over in a mall, and the other people didn't know each other, and this person had no identification on them. So the body went to the morgue, and nobody realized that when the bus came and picked them up that person was missing.
I mean,
But
it's-
he had a major breakthrough.
Yep.
Sure did.
Through life.
He went right into another body.
Certainly isn't suffering from the same problems anymore.
No, actually he is. Actually is.
Rohini,
Yeah?
could you review the fortotomy? Because I think I got it mixed up and put things in the wrong boxes.
Okay, top left is status quo, preservation, steadiness. Opposite of that is upheaval and destruction. The negative of status quo, bottom left, is congealed. Look. Look. Rigid, fixity, ossification. Originally, I had liked the word rigor mortis, and for being from Boston, it was rigor mortis. It's spelled appropriately also. You take away those R's in a heartbeat. But the problem is you're already dead before, so this isn't, it's already dead when that comes in. And then the positive of upheaval and destruction is rejuvenation, transformation, liberation. So remember, again, negative or positive depends on the nature of the status. So whatever your status quo is, going to have that upheaval. If you have whatever you have as your status quo right now, boom. Do not assume steadiness. Staying. Stasis. The upheaval does not distinguish between positive or negative. It's just going to come. It's just going to boom. This was so good. We were having such a good time. Boom. So a perfect example would be in Germany the other day when they were all at a movie theater, and some guy goes in and starts shooting. Nobody was shot, but he was shooting a lot of rounds. And so then he had an upheaval because they then shot him and killed him, the police. Because that's what they do. Orlando. You're having a really good time. Everything's status quo. Really enjoying the night. And there's the break, the shock, the upheaval that changes everything. And if we were to look at this, this is what people who don't love, who hate, are looking to do and make a living from it and encouraging other people. It's not that you'll now love. You're not going to have power. Your breakthrough. These are all breakthroughs. So somebody will then create, so they'll just create some kind of a program using shock. That kind of shock. And it's called a breakthrough. Not good. I knew somebody that's all they wanted was to be, they would create a problem, they would expect somebody to yell, do something, they'd have a breakthrough, they'd feel better, and then it'd all go away. And this goes to, as a baby, the crying baby, who then gets the good intervention and is quietly soothed, or the neglected, no intervention, and is looking for something, creates some kind of a something to break it through. Scary. So our focus should be love. Absolutely 100% love. And so in this room, love. That's it. If you don't practice it in here, where it is like I am demanding you to do it, you're definitely not practicing it out there. And I, last week, read that blueberry muffin recipe. Did anyone make them? They're really good. Were they good?
That's good. No way.
They're good.
They were good.
They're good. The whole point is, we could sit here and discuss another recipe. It's underneath. So we chanted last night, and I wouldn't stop the chant until got everybody where they needed to be. But we can't chant all day, all night. We could, but not my thing. Not gonna be. But have to learn how to speak, because we use words, and at the same time going in. That's why I demand you share it, because I know how to speak and be here. You all have to learn how to have a conversation and be here and never leave here. And if you sit here and don't open your mouths, then you miss the boat 100%. And watch everybody the status quo. And as I said earlier, I'm not about, status quo doesn't last long here. I have 5-minute 3-minute status quos. And then,
You always say, get comfortable with free fall.
that's right. And that's what, if you're comfortable with free fall right now, then you're awake in the moment at all times. And so when a shock comes, you'll be able to handle it. It isn't as if there won't be like, oh, but you'll know. And we are each responsible. We are here, and each of us is responsible for everything. All the consequences are our consequences. It's not about, oh, that's hard. Life's hard. That's beside the point. If it's about the soul, and we're working on that, so we could have a conversation very superficially. Things happen, you have to work on, blah, 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 blah. But that's not what this is about here. And the love we talk about in here is not loving. It's not lowercase love. It's not love on that same as in all emotions. It's not just another emotion. It's the love that transcends everything. It's the love that is conscious, the love that sees clearly, the love that is all. And it's the love that comes from stilling everything that we resist, that we decide who we are, all of that. And then letting God be the doer. I don't know about you, but I want to be on his team. He usually has the right answers. As a matter of fact, always got a really good percentage rate. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.